Hello and welcome back to Panty of the Geeks. Today you join us for another A War Transform video. Today I'm going to be making another 10 points worth for my German army to add on to the existing 10 points from the previous video. So, I think I said previously I was going to switch the captain out for an armorist. So I have got a model for that now, and it is this one right here. So I need to stick them together, just as a couple of bits to put on. But here he is. So this is a Carnivale model, and it's the Doctor of the Mind. It's resin. It's a good resin cast. The only fiddly bit are these little lapel parts that need to go on the front, which we'll do in a moment. I wanted to show you because he is a much larger scale than a 25mm model. I was grabbing the Star Grey ones. As you can see there, he's much taller. So normally I probably wouldn't use the Carnivale human sort of size models, but I think he has a sort of supernatural-esque sort of authoritative stance. But the fact that he looks much bigger than the models around him will just give him this really sort of weirdness, an extra weirdness to the weirdness that he already is. But no, I really like this model. The fact he's wearing a gas mask, which is very similar to the gas mask, but without the German helmet, it's going to look really good. So he's going to be the armorist, if that's how you say it. He's going to be the leader for this German force. So to go with him today, we're going to build some Coveners. For that, I've printed off a couple of versions of the classic cultist. From War Games Atlantic's digital range. There's this one here and this one here. I wanted to just have a few different bodies. I'm not too fussed about variation. I want them to look quite uniform. We're going to be putting on the same helmets we put on with the troopers. So we're going to be using these helmets with these bodies. I'm hoping there's not going to be too much of a problem fitting them on. Yeah, she look pretty good. And then the cultist arms, just various close combat-esque weapons. We're going to be given those. So they're all digitally printed. I'm going to be building another unit of the German soldiers, like in the first video we did. So I need a new unit of those. I'm going to need 2 units of these Coveners, and then we're going to get on to build 2 units of mindless as well. And also a Flamethrower crew. And for that I'll be utilising, hopefully, if it all fits together, this Flamethrower and this tank, which is again from War Games Atlantic Weird War set. So let's get on with it basically. So I'll start by sticking this guy together. Now again, he is resin. He's obviously a very different resin from the resin I've printed off. Carnivale resin is usually pretty good, not had a lot of problems. There's an occasional bit of flash that needs scraping off. There's an occasional hole that needs filling. They're usually pretty good for resin. These 2 little bits here, so these need taking off, this sprue, and these little bits taken off. Actually these are just going to stick in the holes there on the front of his coat. Just like coat flaps. So I'm going to get those off, glue them together and stick them on the base. So we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so there he is with the coat finished off. So I really should talk a little bit about what these guys are. So these armorists, this idea behind the army is basically going to be based sort of in some of the stuff that's in the book about the armorist, mixed with some real world research that I did. You don't have to look very far. Basically, when I say research, you don't have to dig very deep to find the kind of nonsense that went on back then. It's definitely all precursor stuff to the Nazis. Just putting that out there. Even some of the symbology they used, very similar. I'm going to steal some of the colour schemes from them rather than the symbology because I don't want to be painting swastikas on them. I reserve that solely for SS divisions and nothing else. So these guys, they're going to be called the Vril Society, which is obviously a reference to the Thule Society and a reference to Vril itself. I'm just going to keep it simple, the Vril Society. This guy's found a way to distill Vril, which is the life force, the essence of energy, life, blood, whatever, in his worship of whichever god it is he worships. He's managed to figure out a way to distill it. All these gas masks these people are wearing, they're not actually for keeping the gas out, they're actually for pumping Vril into the individuals, which will start off generally as normal people or soldiers, and then they'll degrade over time, become the mindless. So they are almost mindless ghouls, not zombies, more of a ghoul sort of type thing, which we'll get onto in a moment. For now, we've done some soldiers in the previous video, so to finish these guys off, we just started sticking them together. They're going together pretty well. So these are the cultists. They're going to be the Coveners. They're going to be 2 units of those. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it together. 2 units of these guys, and then I should be back. Okay, so we have our Coveners finished. There we go. I think they look pretty good actually. Creepy enough. Use some Frostgrave cultist weapons as well on some of them, just for a bit of variation. Yeah, so a bit different. Where's the other leaders? There we go. So while the unit doesn't have an NCO, I did still want a leader model, because again, I do feel I could probably be using the unit cohesion a bit like Legion, so I need to know where the leader is, and then put everybody else around them. And there's the other one, using the Wargames Atlantic cultist staff. So there we go. So I'm thinking in my head, these guys are going to be painted in colours of yellow, blue and red, more or less. I'm taking this from a historical colour scheme of the New Order of the Knights Templar. They used yellow background for Eternity, and then we had the Fleur-de-Lis on there. I think it was 4 Fleur-de-Lises, I'm doing some memory now. That were in blue for Purity, and then they had the red swastika for the leader who is to come. There won't be a swastika, but there'll be probably the V for the Vril Society on there. I'm not sure how I'm going to paint those colours. I'm probably going to use them, but I'm not sure how. I'll stick together some of these guys while I was waiting for them to dry with the infamous machine gunner. There we go, a little gap on the back needs filling. These are infamous to put together because they look really weird. On this one I actually chopped part of the body off and then stuck it in, because that way the arms doesn't look like he's malformed. So now we're going to do the mindless. So for them I have some ghouls. So these are 3D printed obviously. These are from Duncan Shadow on my mini factory. And whoop, just dropped that. These guys are not going to have any weapons. They're just going to. The kit does come with weapons if you want, but these guys are not going to have any weapons. There's going to be armors apart from, again, whichever one is going to be the leader is going to have these bones that he's picked up. That's the extent of weaponry these guys are going to have. I have some ghoulish heads. I'm not sure that's picking up very well because of the colour of the resin. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and stick 2 units of these together, 2 units of 8. And that should be the mindless ghouls. They've had too much Vril. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so we have our ghouls together. I think they look pretty good. Kind of what I had in mind, these like over bloated physically, but become mindless due to the Vril. I did not manage to print enough arms, but that's one of the good things about 3D printing is if you need extras, go and print it. It's fine. So the last thing for these guys is the flamer. So what I've got is a couple of the Trench Raiders bodies from Wargames Atlantic, which were in the previous video, and then I have the Weird War flamer adaptation, and I have a couple of the, again, gas masks. What I want to do, I do have one of the arms as well somewhere that came with this. You get various arms. So what I want to do is use these 2 and build up a flamer on the base. I'm just going to do that now with whatever parts I've got left over I can find. I have also built an extra Pioneer team for my normal guys and just a couple of extra normal guys, so I can swap out the team and just have a unit with no upgrades, because I thought I may as well use them up for that, and then I've got more options. So let me go ahead and do that and put these guys together and then be back. Okay, and there is our flamer crew pretty much finished, ready to be painted. And that is the next part of the army. So, just to recap, we have 2 points for the line troops. We have 2 units of mindless harrowed, which is 2 points. We have 2 units of coveners, which is 2 points. And we have this, which is 3 points. So that comes to 9 points. So if you've not seen the previous video, this guy will be replacing the captain, so he will then become the captain. And the model I'm using for the captain will become a lieutenant, the lieutenant costing a point. So with the lieutenant, that is the next 10 points of the army. There's a lot of models there, especially compared to the British force. But the British force does have a big tank, so there we go. So that is the next stage of the German army, taking it to 20 points. So there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. In the next one I do intend to have a look through the rules and quickly go through, maybe not a full game, but at least go through the few turns of the game and go through what units can do with the original 2 10-point armies. I'll be doing it on a much smaller board than the ones in the book, so we'll see how that plays out as well. So stay tuned for that, but for now, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.